Hey, I'm John Taylor from Duran Duran. You're watching ForBassPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching ForBassPlayersOnly.com. Coming to you today on location from Hollywood, California, with our very special guest, John Taylor. Hey, John.
Is there anywhere like Hollywood, California?
Not that I know of.
It's great, isn't it?
Well, you're a long way
Seedy
from
back streets of Hollywood, California.
Yeah, you're a long way from home, or what used to be home.
Well, I came from Hollywood, actually. I
different
grew up in
Hollywood.
Hollywood, Birmingham. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
So there's a certain symmetry about being here.
There is.
I've been here about 24 years now.
Okay, that's practically a native.
Yeah.
How did you become a bass player? What attracted you to the instrument?
I think it was just the way music was changing, and I first got drawn to music, to making music in the punk moment, like 76, 77, that sort of, that noise fest that was
I remember
following in the wake of the Sex Pistols and the Clash and the Damned and all these, and it was really a guitar player's moment, and so like so many people I knew, I started to play guitar. But then music started moving in this direction that became it was like the groove started becoming. I started noticing groove music, whether it was electronic music of Kraftwerk or what Moroder was doing. I really got turned on to Chic, like when I was, I think, 17, 18.
Chic, you said?
Yeah.
Bernard Edwards?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I really, and that the bass really spoke to me on that. And I just sort of, I guess I thought, I could be maybe that could be, maybe I could say something with that instrument. Around about the same time that I connected with Roger Taylor, who's been the drummer with Duran for so many years. And then he and I, we also liked Bowie's rhythm section at that time, George Murray and Dennis Davis, and we would kind of like spend hours and hours and hours trying to cop their riffs, and so we really liked the idea of building, a section, because punk hadn't really been about rhythm sections, say it was all about vocals, guitar, then the bass and drums kind of just went along with that, but we were looking to sort of be more important in the music, so yeah, we started working together, and I really liked that. I really liked, locking in and making that groove.
Let me ask you about Rio. That's such an iconic bass line. Everybody that's heard it, all the bass players try to emulate it. I remember back in the early 80s, learn it myself. Yeah. How did you come up with that line?
Well, I don't remember exactly how, but, it was a certain age where you're just starting to feel your chops, as it were, and suddenly you find, and you want to play everything that you can play, so that was me playing everything that I could play, at that time, and I was lucky really that I was able to get away with it. I mean, I think now I couldn't get away with it, but everybody would say, it's too busy, it's too busy, we need to, we need more space. But that was really what it was about something that was going to really propel the track along, but would kind of show off what I could do.
Well, it really did hit the spot. What's keeping you busy these days, John?
Well, I've been on the road most of this year, actually. We've been touring Behind the Paper Gods album most of the year, and that's been great. We've been on the road with Nile Rodgers and Chic. Really had some of our best experiences. We were just playing in Aspen with Stevie Wonder. Sharing a stage with him was just, legend. And I'm kind of on a hiatus at the moment. So, I've got a little setup at home. My wife finally relented and let me sort of turn one of our rooms into like a jam room. So, I'm just, occasionally, I'll play with friends, and I just have to keep myself playing. I'm not terribly good at playing by myself, I'm not terribly disciplined in that sense. I like to play with other people. I like that. I like the conversation. I don't really like practicing scales. It's never been my thing.
Many people feel the same way. Tell me about your equipment. I know you've been with Peavey, gotta be forever.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I started with Peavey. The first amp, I ever bought that was real was a PV amp. So they were my, they were my amp of choice through the 80s. And then I went away, and I think I Trace Elliott for a while.
No, that's PV.
Is it now?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't then. I went away, and I don't know how I came back to PV, but they've just been so good to me. It's very reliable, and I've tried using, bigger, more airy kind of, ampegs. I always look to an ampeg. Like at home, I like to play ampegs, but within the Duran sound, that doesn't really work. So they've been good, and I use their basses live. I mean, I'm into other. At home, I use a lot of different kinds of basses, and in the studio, I use a lot of different kinds of basses. But on the road, I tend to keep things really simple. I usually start out a tour thinking, like the guitar player, I'm going to use different instruments on different songs, and tell a story. I was watching the Stones the other night, and it was really interesting to watch the story that they told as they would go from different song to song, and they'd both change guitars, and and it was so interesting. And I thought, I need to do more of that. But then we're into rehearsals, and we're like a week away from the first show, and I just say to my guy, let's just keep it simple. Let's just go with the one.
It usually works best.
Yeah.
Well, how about the future, John? What else would you like to do that you haven't already accomplished? Because you've accomplished a lot.
Well, I think making music, staying in the game, making music that has some kind of vitality, whether it's on stage or in the studio. I mean, that's it for me, really. That's still. I realized that was what I wanted to do when I was 17, and it's still pretty much what I want to do now. I mean, life. We want to get through life and get on as well as we can with the people in our lives. That's like that's the human project. But as far as art, I just want to carry on, composing, producing new music that has something to it, and having a good time on stage.
What do you think you would be if you were not a bass player? Something outside of music?
I don't know. I mean, I always liked the arts. I was always drawn to sort of commercial arts. I probably would have gone down that road, designing, brands for logos or whatever for companies. I mean, I probably would have gone down that road. I mean, it's just not even worth thinking about. I mean, life has just been it's just been such an insane trip, quite honestly. I can't even imagine, what, where life would have gone. I'm pretty locked into this idea that this was what I was meant to be, and what I'm meant to be doing.
You know what? I'm glad things worked out the way they did.
It hasn't been too bad.
John Taylor, so great getting to know you. Thanks. Continue doing what you're doing, and we will all continue to enjoy it. Much luck, continued success to you always. Thanks. On location in Hollywood, California, not the other Hollywood, but Hollywood, California, with our special guest, John Taylor. I'm John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.